A few days ago, big news for Legends ZA dropped, the starter Pokemon. Remember the starter prediction video I did months ago? I predicted a trio consisting of Snivy, Torchic and Piplup, and made my own forms for the final evolutions. And, well, I was completely wrong. We got Chikorita, Tabik and Totodile. My opinions on that later. Today I'll make regional forms of the final stages. 2 of them are based on old drawings I made in 2016, which were supposed to be Delta Pokemon from Pokemon Insurgents. Let's start with the grass starter Meganium. When Legends Arceus was released, a unique remix trio of starters from previous games was shown. And while I wasn't the biggest fan of the starters chosen, I did like the concept of picking starters from different gens. So naturally people made this rule for Legends games. Every Legends game has starters from 3 different generations. And if you're a Pokemon fan, you do know that Chikorita and Totodile are both from Generation 2 and Tabik is from Generation 5. And honestly, I don't like that. It feels like they took the Johto trio and just kicked out Cyndaquil for Tabik. And don't get me wrong, of course Cyndaquil won't be the starter here. It was already in Legends Arceus, so yeah, it makes sense that it's not here. But starter trees are such an iconic thing of every Pokemon game that it feels wrong to just replace one starter. To me, that's not a proper remix. There are so many fan-made rules that Pokemon fans thought were 100% legit, and Game Freak didn't give a shit about them, and I wasn't mad at that, but this one is bothering me because it feels like they are replacing one friend of a 3-membered friend group that was together for years. That's, to me that just feels wrong. And maybe I'm a little salty because I wanted Snivy to be the grass starter, and nothing against Chikorita, like I said, I think it's really fine, but I wanted Snivy, it would have been perfect. When I watched the teaser and no Snivy was there, I was legitimately devastated. Well, I can't change that, but I can change Meganium. Like I said, my old design was supposed to be a Delta form for Pokemon Insurgents, so I wanted it to be creepy, gave it the bug type and some spider-like elements. It's fluffy, has paws and multiple eyes, and most importantly, roots and a giant spider net around its neck. And I know what you wanna say, Boreal, that is a horrible weak type combination, why would you do that? And to that I wanna say, the overarching theme of these starters is abominations. More explanation to that later. Here it is, CA Meganium, a grass and bug type. While the typing is very weak against fire, it would have an ability that can counter that. Personally, I never understood the Chikorita hate, I really like it, and I had a lot of fun with this Meganium, not gonna lie. Next up, Emboar. So for this one, I didn't have a sketch from years ago, which made it a little harder for me. I thought about how could I tie this design to a French or Paris-based region or game and also incorporate abominations. And then it hit me. What if the French Revolution failed and France was still ruled by royals? Pretty abominable, right? If you remember my guessing starter video, you know that I made a superior version based on beheaded royalties. Emboar is the opposite, one that didn't get beheaded. It is still in a fancy outfit, has a giant grin and a large flowing cape, and, well, blood on its hands. Overall, I did like the teaser for Legends ZA, the graphics looked nice and the trainers looked fantastic, the character design is on point, especially the protagonist and the rivals. I'm not too sure about the new fighting system, they said it would be something completely new. I guess we will have to see, but for me the fighting system is always a make or break point. On the other hand, I'm not even sure if I can play this game because I think it will be released on the Switch too, and I definitely will not buy that just to play Pokemon like I did with the Switch. To me the Nintendo DS series was just way more fun. But let's leave it at that. Here it is, the ruling fire and psychic type Emboar. If you made it until here, why don't you drop a like and subscribe to see more Fakemon content in the future? The final Pokemon of today, Feraligatr. Feraligatr was the hardest design to draw, mainly because of the head and open mouth, so there's a lot more potential for anatomy issues. It is gonna be a water and steel type, and I incorporated a lot of metal tools and working equipment like screws, saw blades, tongs, files, overalls, safety gloves and safety shoes. I have to say I was a little disappointed that there were no new Mega Evolutions shown. Since this is a Legend game, there probably won't be any actual new Pokemon, so new Megas and new regional forms are probably as new as it gets for us. So I don't know if I should be admitting this or not, but I never finished Legends Arceus, and I think it comes down to two things. First is I'm not the biggest fan of the Nintendo Switch. Like, yeah, I already said that before, but I just like the Nintendo DS and 3DS better. They don't take up a lot of space, and when the battery was empty I could just plug it in and start playing again. And the Switch is pretty large, and when the battery is dead it needs like 20 minutes to charge before I can actually like turn it on again, which is a little annoying. And well, maybe that's just my nostalgia for the DS series, but I genuinely think it was an amazing gaming console, and I still play games on it and they still look pretty good. And the second point is new Pokemon, or just Pokemon in general. So there were a few new forms, and I liked the Pokédex system in Legend Arceus at first, but I got bored relatively quickly, to be honest. And then I just forgot about the story and got spoiled on social media about the huge plot points. Or plot turns? How do you say that? Turning plots? Whatever. Honestly, I really want a game like Black and White again, where you only get to catch new Pokemon and 0 of the old ones. Black and White was my first Pokemon game, so I didn't knew that wasn't like normal. I actually was surprised when I played Soul Silver after it, and there were so many Pokemon from different generations. I still think Black and White was super unique, and well, I do highly doubt that we will ever get a game like this again, because Pokemon fans like to complain about everything all the time. And I am aware that what I'm doing right here can also be seen as complaining, but that's not what I'm trying to do. I just want to share my own perspective. The game looks fine, and Game Freak probably has the reasons why they're doing things the way they do. They started to experiment a lot in the last few years, and while I didn't like all of these experiments, we at least have to give them credit for doing or trying new stuff. After one of the biggest complaints for years was like, every Pokemon game has the same story just with new Pokemon, blah blah blah. So, you know, they are trying new stuff, and obviously not everything is gonna succeed. But that's just how it is. Here it is, CA Water and Steel Feraligatr. Its catchphrase is, "Who screwed up my teeth?" Here they are, the Abominational Starter Trio, which was genetically engineered and unfortunately didn't turn out like expected in the near future. And while that was the overarching theme, there is a second one, the three main parties of the French Revolution. Feraligatr is obviously the working class, Emboar represents the aristocrats, and Meganium is the stand-in for the clerics, which is less obvious, but I incorporated elements of the crossbiter, so yeah. Please let me know which one of these three is your favorite one, which one would you choose, and what are your thoughts on Legends CA so far. Thanks for being here, please leave a like, subscribe to not miss any future videos, and see you in the comments.